Oh, the Paris sequence.
This scene.
Oh, yes.
Was this one of the first things we
Yes,
shot?
yeah, because it was for Paris Games
Yeah.
Week.
Paris Games Week, yeah.
We shot this way in advance.
I think it was like a day or two before we shot this that I'm like, we could do this all as one shot. And like I had sketched out like these kind of storyboards real quick, and then came up with this hazy plan with Matt Neapolitan, our cinematographer for this game.
Like take after take of getting dragged by your arms.
This was another one where we actually strung Laura up with, we had like 2 ropes, one that was around your neck to just give you a little bit of tension that you could lean into as much as you wanted, and then another one that held your body up in the air.
Yeah.
Oh, but man, this was so much work, and like we scrutinized the tiniest details in the scene.
When this came out originally, people thought that she was
Anna.
Anna.
Yeah.
That she was Ellie's mom.
We were watching the narrative of how Ellie came to be.
And these Seraphites that at times you might feel sorry for them and you see them getting tortured.
And
then see that, you know,
oh, wait a minute.
here the lead Seraphites in the scene is played by Emily Swallow, in just Small World. She's of Mandalorian fame, acting along Pedro Pascal. And later we find out this is a bastardization of this thing of like freedom so they may know my love wasn't meant as like disembowel them.
Free them, that they may know my...
The intro of Victoria Grace plays Yara.
Yeah, this scene has a lot of heavy lifting. It's introducing like 2 major characters of Yara and Lev. Again, this idea that keeps repeating in this story of like the tribe within a tribe, that even though these are all Abby's enemies, Seraphites, somehow they have it in for these 2 kids.
And again, this is one of those weird opportunities. I know it sounds dark, but like in seeing the violence against these kids, it's much easier to immediately understand why Abby makes the choices she makes. They may be their enemy, but these are kids getting hurt.
Lighting a scene is really hard. Lighting a scene that's one take, where the camera's constantly moving around in 360 degrees and making sure all those angles still look good, is close to impossible. So kudos to our lighting team.
The face change, is she, ugh.
The face change, the flow of blood, the water, there's so many things that done improperly would take you out of the scene. And then we spent a lot of time, even to the hands right there, I remember we spent so much time making sure you see the tension in the hands as she's suffocating. The shirt, and make sure the shirt felt wet and it's sticking to her skin, and it's a little bit translucent because it's wet. That's the kind of detail that Naughty Dog is crazy about.
Demons are coming.
So this is the introduction of Ian Alexander, and a fun thing to watch as you watch his face throughout the game is, I think it was lead character Ashley Swadowski came up with it, but if you look at his scars, one of them is a little crooked and wobbly, and the idea that like you see there's physical representation of his hesitation in this religion, even on the scars on his face.
And yet, I think the beautiful thing with him is that he remains a believer all the way through.
Yeah. His faith partly saved him, right? Because he saw the beauty in the intention.
Watch your backs. Lock it.
Another scene that just, I say this over and over, but it's such beautiful, soft lighting.
Right, and so at this point, they've worked together for as long as they need to, but they're off to go on their separate missions. They don't need to be friends.
Come help me with this.
That taking off of the shirt is so hard. I can't tell people how hard it is. The raindrops again this window were difficult. My high school friend has become a renowned plastic surgeon, Jacob Steiger. And he gave me some advice here on this injury and what you would need to do to treat it.
Right, and this is also a reminder that while Abby took a different path, she comes from doctors, from care. She understands the body, even if she never particularly prioritized it.
Victoria and Ian were great in this. Just how Ian has to play both being scared for his sister and just angry at this wolf that he has to work with.
What's your name?
This is a recurring theme throughout both games, that the idea of giving someone's name is a way to show you trust them.
Thanks for cutting me down.
Love this theme again.
I like the conflict of leaving them, knowing you're dooming them.
Oh, this is... She thinks, I'll give them the warning and that'll be enough.
Sarah gets a lot of traffic. Whatever shape she's in, we need to get out of here by tomorrow.
I don't need your fucking help. The lighting on the hair. This game is still very impressive. This scene turned out to be a bit more controversial than we anticipated.
The irony here is, as much as this is the counterpoint sex scene to Ellie's sex scene, we don't... Oh, I guess we do show a little more.
We show a little bit more.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Well, we'll get to that in a second, but
What is all this?
I love this interplay between you two.
Part. If I'm gonna fix her back
And
up.
I see.
yeah, we really wanted to give Pat something meaty
Pass.
in this monologue, which he just, for my money, knocked it out of the park.
Danny's dead.
Of like visualizing this moment where he just can't do this violent thing anymore. It's not him.
You want to tell me what happened?
I like that she's been strung up and beaten and almost killed, and
We were.
none of that's
in a
important right
small
now.
Camp. It's just a couple scars and
I just got to come in and sit down and watch him work.
hard. And he goes down, and his weapon's right
And this
there.
idea of the tribe within a tribe, and
And he doesn't go for it.
there's no secrets between these two.
Instead, he turns to me. And he's old.
The idea that he's just been sitting here drinking, conflicted, and I mean, he's about to leave his baby mama. That's how much he can't stay in this place. He feels like he's losing his soul. And this look right here, it's like there's a part of Abby that knows what he's saying is true. But that sense of duty to this group that has taken care of them is still there, but starting to erode.
I couldn't do it. Of course, Danny gets in my fucking face about
We're watching her maturity in real time.
I told him I'm done.
Especially having come off
He can do it
of
himself if he wants.
seeing two Seraphites up close and saving them too.
So I grab it, and then
I like that there's so much like unspoken between them that's about to come to the surface of like Abby thinks he's so naive and he thinks what she did was so awful, but clearly they've never talked about it until now. And then there's the underlying love they have for each other and obviously attraction. It's all like, it's so messy. I like the messiness of this relationship.
that I don't give a fuck about anymore.
And it would have been like, I know our goal here is to create empathy for Abby, to show you the other side of this journey. And this definitely was a risk to say, okay, she's going to have a sort of affair with this guy that got this other girl pregnant, her friend.
The fireflies aren't
But this primal thing that's going on between them just overpowers logic.
It's a lead.
And to me, that was more important to create empathy, is to show how human they are than to just make them righteous or right the whole time.
Well, they're trying to define good in a gray world.
What about Mel?
And that means they have to make messes.
This little pause, that's a nice bit of acting.
She'll be safe here.
Okay. We'll talk in the morning when you're sober.
Don't do that.
Do what?
Treat me like I'm fucking insane. You feel the
He
same.
knows her more than she knows herself.
If the fireflies are in Santa Barbara, I go the opposite fucking
And
direction.
the resentment that she has for the fireflies, because in her mind, that's part of the reason her dad died, is
What?
They failed her.
they failed in every way.
Yeah.
Sorry I grew up. You should try it.
It's just the insulting and just
Oh yeah, how do I do that?
this notion that's like your best friends can hurt you the most.
Cut into them? I could torture them until they're crying, you know?
And the flash of violence here, of anger, is like, Abby never talks about it, but clearly she is haunted by what she did to Joel.
Yeah. And he's finally seeing that.
Yeah, and then once they touch, it's over.
I think they're both incredibly lonely characters.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in this other relationship, but clearly he's lonely, and he's been longing for her. And I know people ask this question, why show this? Why you could end the scene right here.
I disagree, though.
But I disagree as well, because I think it's important to show the
conflict.
vulnerability, how vulnerable these characters can be with each other. But there's also, again, it's messy and dirty and loving and a little violence at the same time.
My philosophy on sex scenes is you should take them to the point where you've gotten all the information needed or the emotional evolutions needed. And in this case, I think you needed to see her conflicted and give in.
This was a concept we came in quite late, of showing a nightmare. But showing that now that this nightmare that she's having about her dad is now switched. And this like burn that Owen has on his back, this was another Ashley Swedowski idea that, like we do environmental storytelling, we could do stuff on the body through scars or disfiguration that tells you a story.
I love that at her core, Abby is a protector.
Mm-hmm.
She's Joel.
She's Joel.
Yeah.
Right, so now the dread, she's too late.
Don't come any closer. It's me.
I like the change that Lev goes through here. Of like, he's relieved to see her, and he's ashamed that he hasn't been able to protect his sister.
I really like her trigger etiquette. She took her finger off that trigger as soon as she heard his voice. Classy.
Good job, Laura.
Good
Thank
job,
you.
Laura.
There's this little bit of storytelling of the jacket on top of her, that now she's feverish. Sometimes we get these unintentional parallels. Like this one comes to mind now of Ellie and Winter needing medicine for Joel.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is about to become a goal for Abby and Lev.
Giving her a chance.
I think that one of the things about this game that I like is it just keeps reminding you in how many ways we are fragile.
This is one of the things I did for training when I started working out for Abby. My husband Travis got me a 100-pound sandbag,
Have to carry.
and I had to carry it.
Oh, damn.
I need
And then I got pregnant.
Put the phone down. It's okay.
This is a neat moment, right? These dogs have been trained to like tear scars apart, and now they're here.
Lev, lower the bow. It's okay. Abby, who are these kids? They saved my life.
I mean, this is probably the first time they've ever come this close to seraphites without fighting them.
I wonder if Owen right now is thinking, like, I mean, I said not kill them. We don't have to, like,
What did this?
fucking go this far.
Hammer. It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Mel's like, yeah, right.
Lay her down.
I don't know, it doesn't look that bad.
It's just a little pink.
It's just
It's
a
a
little
tan.
smooshy.
Yara. No. I was gonna clean it and try
The
resetting.
bone's shattered.
Like, there's a moment here that I always find funny where, like, Owen tries to suggest, like, just cutting it and burning it.
What does that mean?
And Laura, you just make him feel like an idiot.
It means it has to come off.
She's a soldier. You can't take her arm.
We leave it, it'll turn gangrenous.
What I love in this scene is even though Mel has very little dialogue outside of tending to Yara, you can see in her performance, in Ashley Birch's wonderful performance and her body language, that she is very much soured to Abby since last we saw her. And hopefully it's very subtly asking the question of how much does Mel know?
She would die from infection.
You fucking moron.
Make me a list. I'll go to the hospital. I'll get it. All day to get there. I don't mind.
It's not about you, Abby. She doesn't have a couple of days. What if I can get you there in 2 hours?
Abby is like such a
Hospital, right?
singularly minded
On the west side?
person. Like, when she gets fixated on something, nothing will get in her way.
Bridges,
I don't know anyone else like that.
high up. It's how we get around the flooding and you people.
Can't you handle 2 hours? Probably, yeah.
This idea of the sky bridges and that wolves never look up. It's actually it's an idea we got from our focus test, is that we build these elaborate levels, and then we find players look left and right and almost never turn the camera upwards.
Oh, wow.
So there's this idea that they're patrolling these streets and they never look up to see these secret paths that the seraphites are using.
Abby.
Look at the
Oh
way,
yeah, you calling Abby right now?
look at the way Mel's looking at him.
Hey.
There's also, again, it's kind of a messy theme, but the idea of that we've done certain things and it feels like we can never get past them. And for Owen, it's like, oh, I got this girl pregnant. Does that mean
Why are you doing this?
this relationship is doomed and it could never happen? That's the way Abby sees it. But for his mind, it's like nothing is ever final. There's always a chance for like a new beginning.
Well, I do.
It's a nice, sweet little moment.
And Lev's just like,
Well,
I'm
like,
not
oh,
here.
shit, well,
I
I
am
just
not
went.
here.
Yeah, there's so much unsaid that, again, we have the privilege at Naughty Dog of being able to capture the such small nuances of your performance that we don't have to rely on dialogue as much. Her worst fear realized.
Yeah. Can you imagine how bad that would
Oh,
smell?
I like that Abby is like, let me recover from near death. And Lev's like, I'm good, let's go.
And he's just staring
just
at her
bounces.
awkwardly.
It was so great on the stage. Looking up and just seeing him.
Can I get a minute? Please.
Okay, but I'm going to keep staring at you awkwardly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Just back up one step.
The sequence between Abby and Lev used to be shorter, significantly shorter, and Lev used to be the one that died and Yara survived. And it's because we saw the dynamic between you two.
Oh,
that
really?
It caused us to have this ripple effect that changed the story and eventually led to us changing the ending and having Abby survive.
What? Really?
Spores. Masks on.
So this is my favorite level in the whole game. And narratively, this level had to do a lot of work, not just because,
We were on the run.
hey, now we're going to learn more about Seraphite culture and what this is and who Lev is, but this level has to ultimately earn Abby's willingness to walk away from the wolves.
If you die, I'll be stuck here.
Better start praying I make it.
She has
I
to, she
like
has to build love.
the banter that's forming between these two characters. As they get more comfortable with each other, they're okay insulting each other in this funny way.
Got your present. Here.
We're taking too long.
Can't move any faster. It won't do your sister any good if we're both dead. There. We got this. This is as far as you go.
Wait, why?
Because they want to kill you. With me,
I like that he has no idea what backgammon is.
What's backgammon?
It's an interesting dynamic because he's been so secluded from the world. He knows even less than Ellie did in the first game. Just makes you think about, like, you know, if we were to come back years later, people that would be born years and years later, like, just the world we know seems more and more distant.
Hey,
Eat a girl.
Abby.
Oh,
Now from the other side.
They got you out here too. Yeah, what a haul. I need some medical supplies. Can you put me where I'm supposed to?
Abby, just checked in with Isaac. He wants you back at the farm.
Let me talk to Isaac.
Talk to him in person. You're going back with the next shipment.
you're fucked.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
She's been AWOL.
Trying to look confident, though, you guys. Tell by my body posture.
Give me your hands.
She's not yet willing to.
Fight them.
Mm-mm.
She's surrendering to them. They're not her enemy yet.
Just staring daggers into his face, though. Like, are you really gonna do that?
Hey! Hey! Let me the fuck out!
You're gonna dislocate your shoulder.
Chelsea Tavares
I never thought I'd see you on Isaac's bedside.
did a really fantastic job as Nora.
You find
It was important that all of you had really good chemistry. That's just, you have to sell years of friendship in very short scenes.
I need some medical supplies.
Why? What happened to him?
And again, this just myopic focus.
Compartment syndrome. Bashed forearm.
You're not treating him, are you?
Mel.
But she's not right. Interesting that even here, that these people love each other. That there's tribes within a tribe within a tribe. Because she's, yeah, lying to Nora.
We haven't cleared out the lower floors yet.
Would they have what I need?
Build up for the scariest fight.
Probably.
We're about to get into our Resident Evil homage.
I'll be fine.
She's so cool.
You get caught.
Nora?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To do with this.
I'm like, this one will bite you in the ass.
All right, come on.
But, alright.
Like that she's ready to pummel whoever it is that grabbed her. And this is something we'll see with Yara later as well, which, like, these kids are told to stay put, and they're starting to care so much for Abby, they don't stay put.
They're all looking for you. What did you do?
Nothing. I told you to stay put.
I couldn't. Your friends are all over the place.
I really like this, the glue that happens between this scene and the next, and showing this river rapids ride, and it has very much this apocalypse now feeling that you're cruising through a war-torn area.
This game is so ugly.
This was this little sequence. I think this was suggested by Joe, our editor on this game. I love these murals.
Yeah.
Sometimes these like kind of connecting shots I find really beautiful. Just giving you a little bit of a gap in time.
Now this shifted relationship with Lev and Alice.
Oh yeah, and
And
Lev's
it's
just
like-
been taught to fear those dogs.
Right.
They just rip them apart.
And another example of just the beauty of animals in this world and
Oh,
how they represent innocence.
gorgeous baby.
I'm staring at the animation on the fingers and how well done it is.
Yeah.
Well done. You can go see her now if you want.
Is she gonna be okay?
Yeah, actually.
All this time after what they did to Joel, after all the seraphites they've killed, finally meeting these two kids
Just kids.
just starts to put it all in perspective for Abby.
I know.
Her body figures it out before her head does.
What happened to us?
What happened to us, right? That's the most she's going to talk about, all these things that she's done.
Maybe we stop looking for the light.
Maybe.
The idea that, even when we fail, we still have to push forward for something better. That's what Owen represents.
I'm gonna go check on the girl.
Okay.
Something so beautiful and sad here when we reveal the missing arm and this exchange of a smile between these two characters. Another time I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's just, I love showing off your performances with no dialogue. It just makes our job easier as writers. Just leave out the writing.
That's the secret to good writing. Leave out the writing.
And finally, she has one good night of sleep.
Yeah, but consciousness is about to slap her in the face.
She's not going to come with you. Convince her. We broke the rules tonight. That's all she'll care about.
Owen?
Just me.
Oof.
Yeah.
Like that Mel doesn't even, you're not even worth my time to talk about it.
Changing Yara's bandages.
But then she snaps.
She's so powerless in this situation.
What are they fighting about?
Fuck you, Yara. I wouldn't leave you behind.
Oh, and this was a fun
Love
beat
doesn't
because he
always-
did just learn how to say fuck you.
Owen invited them to come to Santa Barbara.
That is very Owen.
She's trying to be jokey and connect with Mel.
Talked him out of going by now.
Hoping that she doesn't know.
Right.
Actually, I'm going with them.
But not if you come.
Oof.
What? He may fall for your little act with these kids, but I don't.
There's nothing to fall for.
Isaac's top scar killer suddenly had a change of heart.
It's such an insult, right? But it's like, she probably deserves it. But the idea that she's only being nice to these kids to earn favor with Owen.
You're
Yeah.
a piece of shit, Abby. You always have.
It's so sad that she doesn't fight back because she probably agrees with her.
Oh, fully. Fully.
Done with you.
Well, I think Mel is also calling into question, like, can characters change? Can people change? We see it with Joel, but it happens so rarely, right? And so many of our characters are myopically focused and can't change no matter what. So I understand why she feels like this must be bullshit.
Yeah, but she finally feels like, oh God, I'm doing the right thing. I'm finally doing the right thing. Maybe I can be better. And then like this
Right.
Abby?
instant back to reality.
I like that showing emotion in this world is somehow a weakness.
Nice shirt.
We iterated a lot on what was on that shirt. We had,
Yes,
I just
I was
remember we
just
had
thinking the same thing.
all these different designs that were just too distracting, and finally we ended up with something pretty subtle.
How's your arm?
Because she'd need an aquarium shirt.
Why does that otter look so sad?
Otter lost its arm too.
Lev coming around?
He will.
I remember a conversation I had with Victoria here about
Do you mind helping me look?
Yara's motivation, how she's she feels like she needs to repay Abby in some way, and she's complimenting her, and she's pulling her in to like find Lev,
We ran off this way.
but more for Abby's sake than for actually finding Lev. Oh, this was a tough one to write.
Oh yeah.
How is he doing this? Hey, do you think maybe he could convince your mom?
If she saw him like this, she'd strangle him with her bare hands.
The conflict between love and duty, of like the love a mom should have for her kids and the duty she has for her religion.
I heard some of your people calling him Lily.
I like here that Yara is the practical one. She sees the world as it is, and she sees the consequences as they are. And in some way, in another universe, she and Abby would be wonderful enemies because they are both strong, myopic soldiers, right? But for Yara, the risk to Lev's life is worth giving everything up.
I told him he had to keep it to himself.
And the guilt, right? This guilt here.
I was hoping he'd snap.
No, it's that it's also Yara has greater love for Lev than their mom had for Lev. That this moment that she's describing here is what made her lose faith.
One of the men was suicide.
And we don't talk about it, but I think the difference that I see between Yara and Lev is that Yara has lost her faith, and Lev has just
I screamed at him.
refocused it, went back to the origins, to the writings, and sees how it was corrupted.
So stupid.
This is another one of those scenes. I thought Victoria here just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't we find something to cheer him up?
I like these in these action games, sometimes having a goal of like, oh, let's find a toy to cheer up a kid. And that becomes your gameplay objective.
What about this?
It's perfect. Mel's wrong.
Another brilliant thing Ashley Swadowski sort of conceived of is you watch the kids visually change and move away from scars over the course of this game. So here we see Yara is now dressed like a civilian, but she still wears the
I'm
braids.
sorry, I didn't realize you owned everything in the aquarium.
She's not fully
well,
letting go.
My aquarium, my stuff. I'm just kidding. Take whatever you want. You can't.
Have you seen Lev?
Yeah. He was down
Yeah,
the
we're
hall.
about to get into this conversation of I mean, they're talking about their relationship, but thematically, there's greater stuff here, which is when are things too late? When have you gone so far that there's no coming back from it?
She couldn't tell I was joking.
They are very literal.
They're literal people.
I suck with kids.
It's funny he says he sucks with kids, but I think Owen would be a great dad.
Oh, I think he'd be an incredible dad.
Another world.
Coming to Santa Barbara, right?
I can't.
Why?
You know why.
He's such an optimist, right? He's about to talk about that. We'll figure it out. I don't know how, but we'll figure it out.
I know. I know it's a fucking mess. I know. But we can choose to be happy. Happy.
Again, going back to something you said earlier, Neil, but it's like this idea that suffering is the way that we honor the dead.
I don't think Abby has fully admitted, like, no, I don't have a right to be happy. There's no.
Yeah.
Leb! Get back here! Leb!
What's he doing? He's going after her.
After who?
His mom. She's gonna kill him, Abby. Is the boat ready?
Not yet.
How much time do you need?
A few hours.
This is their last conversation together.
She just had surgery. I'm fine. How else am I gonna find him?
I'll go with you.
Owen?
They're heading to the fucking island.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna let her go by herself.
I think there's a part of Abby that knows she's about to head into a suicide mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is her forcing Owen to stay here.
She's really trying.
She's trying.
The irony is in staying here.
She
is
dooms
what-
them.
She
is what
abandons them, yeah.
Dooms him.
I don't know when it is in gameplay that you realize, like, oh God, I killed them all as Ellie. You know what I mean? What did I do?
Is that a sniper rifle?
Uh-oh.
Stay on the dock. I'll go get a boat and pick you up here.
No, I can help.
Not with this.
Girl, you have one arm.
She is so tough.
She's badass.
But yeah, Abby doesn't want any more blood on her hands. So just like with Owen, she wants Yara to stay behind.
Get down! Abby, what the fuck?
Manny?
You by yourself?
Yeah.
I like the dynamic between Abby and Manny.
This sniper's a fucking bro.
Just a couple of bros.
Doing out here?
A couple of bros.
We were supposed to hit the island tonight. Then this pendejo showed up.
Tommy's so
I sent the
cool.
guy to call for help.
It's so interesting how very few players guessed that this was Tommy right here.
Really?
Yeah.
I need one of those boats. Now.
Just because it's been so long and you forget
forget,
about there's
yeah.
a whole other cast of characters that are on this island, and now
Let's do it.
these two stories are starting to merge.
Right, at first it feels coincidental, like, oh, she just happens on Manny. It's like, no, Manny was targeted. The revelation, it's Tommy.
What? No wonder he was so good.
I'm like, oh right, this whole other game that's happening finally collides. If you don't see a character die on screen, you should always question their death.
You alright?
That music is so ominous.
Yeah.
I like how she's just burying the death of her friend.
Yeah.
Just stay, again, she has this very narrow focused mind.
And the realization that it's all gonna come crashing down.
And the guilt, I would imagine, right? Like, the thing I would be burying in that moment is, oh, that's that guy? Oh, I'm complicit in the death of my friend.
There's another one of those that's, if you were to see the making of it, it'd be so funny because they're like, okay, and wave, and wave, and you'll have to act the physics of the boat, and then later the animators like touch it up.
In the earlier days of this game, there were 5 days that the girls were sort of doing their thing in Seattle.
And now we're on their territory.
There was a whole day where Ellie would go to Scar Island to give you this opportunity to see them in the same nurturing way that we would see the stadium, where you get to see them take care of their children and their seniors, and you get to see them farming, and you get to see them be human people. But we cut it because ultimately it didn't shift Ellie's journey. Oh, this scene.
This is a heavy scene.
Mm.
Unlike the rest of the game, which is just
a comedy.
That shift right there for Yara is really nice, of going from grieving to protecting. Consoling, yeah, that's right. Those cuts.
And she knew it was going to happen. She knew that's what the outcome was going to be.
She started chasing
Lev's an optimist.
Trying to make her stop. I was just pushing her off of me. She hit the table.
With everything that baby Lev has been through in this past week, this is truly the death of his innocence.
Mm-hmm.
Now these three have become the us, and the WLF is about to become the them. There's this little connective tissue right here of or this moment of connection between Abby and Lev that I love, that she hands him the bow. Just the exchange, again, this exchange between them.
My baby.
Sweet baby. All she can do is arm him. This way.
Got one!
Oh, this is
the... Yeah. So right, originally you would come into this island, and this is where we would have killed Lev, and
yeah,
we had these concepts of stone mound graves, and that you would find Lev being buried in one. But instead, we flippity-flopped it.
It's funny. It's like Abby stopping Lev from doing the thing she couldn't even do, is grieve for the person she loves. And there's our second Isaac scene.
What the hell are you doing?
Oh, not a good look.
This was really fun watching you guys play, and this back and forth. It's like every other time you've been able to reason with Isaac, but he's at the end of his rope.
By the way, we'll deal with you back home.
He's not one of them, please.
Abby, move.
God damn it, he's just a kid.
Isaac doesn't see a kid, you know?
You have 3 seconds to get away from that scar. 1.
You really gonna shoot me?
2.
I'm not fucking moving.
That facial expression was great.
No! What the fuck?
And Jeffrey Wright gave us a lot of deaths, a lot of falling in all these different ways. I remember that. This was another one of those where we wanted to make the volume feel bigger and run with the characters. And then we had a hard time, I don't know how much you remember, Laura, of like getting this beat to land right here, this exchange between the two characters, until we somehow, I don't remember the exact order of events, but we came up with this line right here. You're my people.
Yeah, we were on the stage and it just wasn't quite working. And you came to me and you said, let's brainstorm some other lines. And I said, you're my people. And you're like, okay, that's it. And you just walk back on set. And it really, it's become my favorite line in the game, because it is.
This one here is actually one of my favorite scenes in this game.
I agree, this one's really great.
It's just the visuals, the exchange, how far we've come. Just the idea that he's cold, the weather.
She's so dull here. She's just such a dad here.
This is, again, this is one of those things that's very easy to write on the page. She takes her jacket off, she wraps it around Lev. Very hard to execute and make it look good. look how she's looking at him.
Well, it's like now she's looking at a small version of herself, right? She
Yeah.
knows what it is to see your parent dead, to see your world burn, and now she's just got to helplessly watch another person do it.
This is again where the two stories are barreling into each other. And we have a series of losses. I mean, there's this nice dramatic irony. The player already knows what's waiting for Abby inside, and they're like, oh my God, oh my God,
Yeah.
oh my God. And they're waiting to see how this
If they
plays out.
remember, a lot of people forget.
No,
But
really?
as soon as they see Alice,
Oh yeah, Alice is the
that's
trigger.
the giveaway. What can you say to someone that just lost his mom and his sister at the same moment?
Alice is the only dog that actually has to die in the game, which was a fun thing during press when people would be like, why do you want us to kill dogs? And it's like, you don't actually have to in any of the setups. They're all voluntary kills, but Alice is the only requisite one.
I'm pretty sure we're always careful to say you don't have to kill dogs, but we didn't say you don't have to kill a dog.
Dog. The cutest dog that you play fetch with.
Be careful.
This is, Laura, you make this look very easy, but this is a very hard scene, I think, watching from the outside to act, which is you have to go from grief to pure rage. I think, Hallie, this was your throwing up that you wrote into this scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
It's such a great visual of how much grief somebody can take before your body just rebels against it.
Yeah.
This little, the way he says Abby here. Almost afraid to show her this might lead to the people that did this. And of course, this was Ellie's mistake of dropping the map here in her panic attack. And and the music is doing a good job of just taking you internally into Abby's head. Now she's regressing back to the vengeful spirit she was before. Our main characters collide, or about to collide.
I think one of the things that makes Laura's performance here so special is that this character is so hard and so terrifying, but in every scene where Laura is scary, there's also this patina of vulnerability, of fragility that's coming through, where you can feel that she's quaking with rage, but there's so much complex stuff happening underneath that rage. It's really great. You're not bad.
It's funny because it's the same way I feel about Ashley's performance. So there's always this.
Just that rage feels so real.
She's so good too, like fucking one shot.
And from her perspective, it's Jesse's an NPC.
Yeah.
He means nothing to her.
Stand up! Now!
Don't you fucking dare!
Shut the fuck up! All right?
Stop! Stop!
What is so beautiful here, or tragic, is that Ellie doesn't get it. Right? What Ellie's about to say here is like,
I know why you killed Joel. He did what he did.
well, he did it to save me. There's no cure because of me.
And Abby's like, what?
Not
It's
about that. I don't know how much Abby cares about it. It's about her
Yeah.
dad.
You killed my friends.
Like, I showed you mercy.
And you wasted it.
And players were so uncomfortable here. Like, I have to go up against Ellie now. And this is very much by design.
Who is scary.
She's wily, but you're beefy.
If I remember correctly, Ashley, we had you like have water in your mouth when you delivered some of the lines here, because your mouth is meant to be filled with blood.
Yes. Wow. Okay, because I remember I was, as my usual, I was like, why am I just laying here? I would try everything I could to try to get up and go save her. So I think the water and having that and having sort of showing or being able to hear how messed up Ellie is in that moment.
This is the other scene that lives in my head. The knife to a pregnant girl's throat. It's so terrible, but in her mind, like, Ellie just intentionally killed her pregnant friend, and Mel is so visibly pregnant.
And the fact that Abby does not kill them shows that she's kind of in a little bit of a better mental place, I think, than Ellie is.
Yeah,
Well,
she's
she's
grown
also
a
got
little
her
bit.
moral compass, like,
Yes.
right in front of her.
Yeah.
Well, there's like
Yeah.
two versions of love right in front of her. One
Yeah.
is the destructive one of like wanting to do justice by the people that I've lost, and the other one is wanting to do right by this kid that I've come to be their protector.
Hmm.
And she
Who's already
chooses.
seen too much violence, who's already experienced too much wrath, right? It's like, he needs peace.
Ellie? Hey!
That poor baby.
That poor baby.
Yeah.
We had a lot of conversations here about Ellie's thought process, the things she's not expressing, but she put the baby's life at risk right now, right? It's like, who knows what, and when she's in this fog of PTSD, what she could have done.
This is the moment for Ellie where she's...
It's never going to get better.
It's not going to get better, and she's put her family in danger. So it's probably better to just go.
Well, Dina is also trying to sweep it under the rug, and this is what's going to happen in the next. He was like, let's just go back to bed. Everything's fine. If I could buy another week, maybe she'll get a little bit better.
Or even just the distance to speak. It's just like when somebody's really in the thick of like the panic and the fog of grief like that, it's like you do kind of need time in order for them to kind of continue to progress through the stages. But it's like Ellie is refusing to move through these stages. And so like I feel like when we were doing this, like the patience that I have with it was that it's like maybe she'll move to the next stage soon. Maybe we're getting there. Maybe that's what we're getting to.
I don't know if we ever talked about this, but we had a whole different version of this part of the game where it was Maria that showed up.
Yeah, but we felt it would be more intimate if it were seeing how broken Tommy was.
Well, it should be like feel more the guilt of like seeing the damage on Tommy and having Tommy been changed over this year since he got back to Jackson, of like the guy that wanted to protect Ellie and not go on this quest for revenge is now guilting her into it.
I like that you're coming in late and you're seeing that this man has been very broken, and we're getting a sliver of how the abuse he experienced and the things that he did in Seattle have irreparably damaged him. And he's standing right in front of Ellie, and Ellie is looking at how irreparably damaged this man is, and she's like, yep, let's do that to me too. I'm willing to see the ghost of my future. That's the fate I deserve.
Sorry.
Nah. We talked about it a lot, and yeah, it's what we both want, so.
Well, the other thing we were talking about is the other big Ellie Tommy scene is after Joel's death and how they can't look at each other. And then this happens again here. Once he asks her to go, she can't look at him.
I think it's a confrontation thing, or when I'm feeling anger, I get uncomfortable, like I don't want somebody to see it.
It's also the shame, right? Of the shame of,
Yeah.
I'm letting you down. I'm letting Joel down. I'm letting myself down.
Yeah.
Described her as built like an ox, traveling with a kid with scars across his face. He said they're living.
I also think that there's something important in this scene for Dina, right? Because Dina has been such an amenable partner through so much of this game and their journey, and even when Ellie's off the deep end, Dina is a nurturing force. And here she's finally drawing the line.
We're done with that.
She's finally like, we're done with that. I'm speaking for Ellie now.
There's a line here, and you've crossed it.
And like the rage I felt too when he keeps going, I was like, it's
love it.
insidious. You know, it's like he came and brought the virus back into the house and now she's sick again.
Think of all the guilt he's carrying. He failed to save Joel. He failed to save Jesse. He failed to get Abby. He's fucked up. His marriage has fallen apart. All he has left now is this revenge. That's it.
Well, it also
Yeah.
it goes back again to that ego thing where it's like, you asked me to do this and I did it. I went to Seattle. Now I'm coming back for you to pay up, and you're gonna be a little bitch about it.
Well,
Yeah.
and again, he doesn't. He's too blind to see the suffering that she's going
Yeah.
through. All he could see is like how
She looks
damaged,
great.
how damaged he is. But what he's say like, oh, you live out here, and you got your family, and everything's cushy, and everything's fine, and I'm the one suffering. But he doesn't see that he's not the only one
Yeah.
suffering.
And I love that Jeffrey, when Dina walks over and Ellie is sitting there at the table, and Jeffrey is not even acknowledging Dina.
In a way, Tommy might feel like I'm more family to you than Dina is.
Yeah, yeah,
I've known
yeah.
you longer. Like
That's exactly
think
what
of
it
everything
felt, yeah.
we've been through, and it's the only time there's really personal conflict between Ellie and Tommy.
That's one of my favorite Dina moments.
Yeah.
Because it felt so real.
I was so mad.
Yeah. Just like flying out the screen door and being like, listen, motherfucker, get off of our property. I love it.
So this was one of the first things we shot for this game.
Yep.
There's so many characters here. We had to shoot this in multiple batches and then stitch it all together.
I did several days just dancing.
Yes.
Yeah, remember we brought a dance choreographer that spent some time with you, Shannon.
Yeah.
This was the demo, and so we had to. This was tricky because we're introducing to the world a lot of new characters with a lot of interesting dynamics, and trying to do that through exposition, but as thin an exposition as possible because, dear God, nobody likes exposition. It was hard.
What happened?
This scene has jumped around all over as we're playing with the structure. It used to be in the very beginning, and then we felt we just had too many cutscenes in the beginning. We needed to get to the action a little bit faster, and then moved it to the end. We changed the writing for the beginning.
She's putting on quite the show.
But there's something kind of nice, and I guess there's a tragedy to it of coming here at the end as a memory. Of just seeing Jesse's alive and Ellie and Dina are okay and no one's, and there's Joel.
Hey! What took you so long? Oh, I'm here.
And this really innocent first kiss.
Hey, don't forget, we're heading out early, so get some rest.
Yes, sir.
You're such a dick. Come on.
This was the first scene we shot. This was the first scene we shot after you hired me.
Yeah.
How bad do I smell?
I look at this and I'm just overwhelmed with all the details of the shirt, of sweat stains, of little hairs on the neck, little dimples on the smile, and just this is hundreds of people of work for months to get this little moment. Sweat and trying to capture it.
The hair that I put behind her ear is crazy.
Yeah. And that has to switch from being physics hair to being hand animated hair
It's
as soon as
crazy.
you make contact with it.
Whoa.
Or not.
And even just the kissing, I mean, it's just, it looks so realistic.
Yeah, and it's actually a combination of several performances all stitched together right here. And then the lighting has to change from shot to shot. It's interesting highlighting the bracelet that's back on Dina's hand. It's a nice, it's a
just
nice
love it.
reflective moment of like how innocent things were for all these characters.
Yeah.
I love just the little surprise on Ellie's face, the little like moment of shock before melting into it.
And then we're about to get into Seth, and again, Shannon, your rage is so real here.
Hey, it's a family event.
Fuck are you looking at?
This whole interaction was based on one time I was at Blockbuster, and I'm just talking to my friend, I'm throwing curse words around, and the dad in front of me had his 2 kids, and he's like, "Do you mind? There's kids around." And that always stuck with me. I felt such shame having like used curse words in front of these kids.
Ellie, Ellie, don't.
Get the hell out of here.
Get your hands off me.
Hey! Enough. Come on, you. Let's go for a walk.
What about them?
You worry about yourself.
I feel so bad for Joel here.
Ugh, me too.
What is wrong with you?
She doesn't want to be under his shadow anymore.
No.
But he can't help himself.
He's just trying to. He's
someone
trying to dad.
someone is hurting her, and he's going to stand up for her.
Oh, Papa Bear. Yeah, you know you were an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saddest scene.
Yeah, with the first game, right, we're talking about how do you take this obsession of love, of a parent's love for a child, to the end of the line? And then this has the reverse of it, of like, how do you take hate to the end of the line? Which is also like another expression of love. And the engineering of it was that here she has this family that loves her, and it's not good enough because she's letting down Joel in her mind.
I love the different energies that you both bring to this scene where Dina is giving it her everything in this fight, and Ellie just has to shut down.
This scene, my God. I was so hard to leave you because you were so upset and so broken and so sad, and I was like, I should, my mom must stay. I'm sorry.
I would argue this is maybe Ellie's darkest moment, even though I know where we're going, because this is the choice where she forsakes.
Yeah, this is where she makes the choice.
Yeah. And I think she knows there's a very good chance she's going to die on this journey.
I guess the thing that we don't talk about is like, I think she's suicidal.
Yeah, I
think
agree.
there's the guilt of what
The
should have
pain is
happened
too
at the
loud.
hospital.
That's why she leaves in the middle of the night. She's not saying goodbye because it's clearly suicide.
Yeah. When the pain gets too loud, she's not there anymore. She's incredibly vulnerable, but she's completely disassociated, and there is this absolute rejection of everything that is right.
I'm just supposed to sit here and wait for you.
At that point, like, you know, you're not talking to the person that you're in the relationship with. You're talking to the grief. And so it's like the convincing comes into like, are you even in there anymore? Like, can I just find you for 1 second? And she's just fully gone.
Both characters have very clear goals, and then there's an obstacle, and then they keep ratcheting out. Like Dina just ups the ante over and over and over until the last bit is ultimatum.
Even the grabbing of the face.
And then
like
she pulls her hands down.
Ugh.
And that's it, she knows. Philosophically, with this game, what we wanted to do was allow our characters to make immoral choices that the audience would not be on board with. Up until now, like, we shed some of the audience of, like, you know, the Nora torture. Some people have issues with that, or certain other kind of violent moments. But here we lose almost everybody. And it is by design in that way of, like, you're now, like, playing this thing that you are not on board with at all. You have to keep going. And in a way that does align you with Ellie. These shots are so gorgeous. There's a nice misdirect coming up here. We purposely gave Lev chucks, so you're thinking for a second that, oh, okay, this is where I pick up Ellie's journey. And again, now you've been a while away from Abby and Lev, and now Lev has fully shed his seraphite exterior, has hair.
I love to see their growth, their relationship in this moment.
Okay, Constance.
In letting go of hate, Abby has taken on the Owen's optimism, Owen's hope. This thing that was just this flame that was almost completely extinguished within her. Somehow in all that tragedy and all that horror, she was able to find it again.
Her face seems brighter, it seems lighter than it has been the entire game.
Come on.
Even in the flashbacks.
Is this frequency currently in use? This is
so small, but I love
What?
the hope again. It's just like she has a bit of hope here, and then it's cranked up to 10 when she hears the fireflies on the other side of this radio.
Can anyone hear me?
And isn't the firefly on the other side of this radio another Vox Machina hero?
Is it really?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Liam O'Brien.
Is it?
Yeah.
He was my fellow nurse, wasn't he? In the
He
the
was.
scene? Yeah, we were with the
fellow
two nurses.
nurse in Last of Us 1.
Is this frequency currently in use? This is Abby from Santa Barbara. Is anyone out there?
There's a nice reaction here that Lev has to Abby's, again, singular obsession of now finding the fireflies, and he's ready to give up.
Can anyone hear me? Hello?
And she keeps going in desperation.
I love artistically how the character models for Lev and Yara were kind of a blend of both of the actors' faces, because now I'm like looking at baby Lev, but I feel like you can see some spirit of Yara still.
Is this frequency currently in use? Hello, this is Abby from Santa Barbara. Can anyone hear me? If anyone can hear me, please reply. Please answer.
Don't give up.
Like that, this was perfectly shot, like we're pulling away from her, that this is how the scene's going to end.
24, 25 Constance. We got a tip
I
about
don't
a
know why
base.
I get weirdly emotional in this scene.
For fireflies. I'm a firefly.
Maybe just seeing how happy she is.
Where were you stationed?
I was part of the Salt Lake outpost.
Like that little head shake.
God, I'm so awkward.
I mean, I guess I'm a firefly. I kind of disavowed them, but that is who I truly am.
He was my dad.
Well, how about that? We pulled everyone back
Like
to the satellite
Liam's
stations.
acting right here, like in the reply. How about that? Like, holy shit.
200 strong now, with a few more every month.
Owen was right. You're about to get 2 more. How do we find you?
It's,
oh God, yeah, that's there. There it is.
Approach the large domed building in Avalon. We'll find you.
Okay.
Look at like the way Lev looks at her. He's happy for her.
Looking forward to it. Good luck, Abby from Santa Barbara.
Well, it's also like
Over and out.
there's a possibility of community here again.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure everything's going to turn out fine for these two.
But it needs to, Neil.
Here they get ambushed by a new group, the Rattlers.
The Rattlers are the worst people we've encountered in the game for both practical reasons, which were we want you to get to see Ellie at her most vicious, most violent. We want her kills to feel brutal and justified. And we want to feel like Abby and Lev, were they not saved, would have died.
There's also, with this group, wanting to make them really awful, to play a little bit with tropes and structure and misdirect the player, that in a lot of these stories, you have these two characters that you're rooting for against each other, and then there's a really evil force, and you see them team up, and they're going to work together to defeat the bad guys. And that's not how this plays out at all. That always felt a little too cliche, and I don't know if it really spoke to the themes of what we're trying to say here. But we wanted the player to think that's what's going to happen. There's a nice economy here of storytelling. Like, we don't show Abby arriving at Santa Barbara with this boat that has become a character of its own in the story. And we're just here with Ellie picking up the tail end of their journey. There's also like a really interesting note here from Abby. And it's also the first time we're seeing just how emaciated Ellie has become. And she's sunburned and clearly not taking care of herself in the pursuit of Abby.
I mean, it mirrors it can't all be for nothing because she's killed so many people at this point. If she stops, that all is just for nothing.
I really like the parallel of the first game of her wanting to see things all the way through with her stubbornness, even though there's a part of her that says this is not the right thing to do.
Yes.
Nice mirror here of the injury Joel had in the hospital in the first game. We're constructing this. We wanted to injure Ellie badly. So again, she's choosing the pursuit of this thing over her own health, that she will likely die if she sees this all the way through.
I would argue she is dead already.
Mm-hmm.
Doing this upside down hair was such a pain. Because they have to, essentially, you can't just move the hair upside down. You have to remodel the whole thing. And we wanted her to have lost so much blood. It's again, the whole thing is starting to feel like a fever dream, and she thinks she's seeing like Abby and Lev, and then realizes, oh no, it's very different people.
Travis and Logic.
This was another moment to show how far Ellie has come, and how easier it is for her to kill someone in cold blood now versus the earlier parts of the story. And one more instance where she could use her superpower of being immune to get herself out of these jams. And what she's employing here is very similar to what Nora did to her, which is like try to insult them so they could get reckless, and in that recklessness she'll find the opening.
Something funny?
Looks like you shit your pants. It's a good trick. I remember in this scene when I take the gun off of Bobby, the strap in one of the takes went across his neck, and I gave him a really bad rope burn.
Oh no.
Because I just yanked it really quickly, and he had that for about a week.
Oh no.
It looked really, I was like, oh no. It looked like he was strangled or something.
But he looked badass.
He was so excited. It was like, oh my God, Ellie killed me. He was such a fan of the game.
That's right. He was excited.
I love how efficient that action is right there. Of just grabbing the gun, spraying across his legs. And watch this little smirk that you give when he points out your bite. Because he doesn't know you're immune. No one's immune.
She had a scrawny kid with cuts by his mouth.
Travis Willingham.
Look at your face there. It's like it's like she's getting another hit of her drug. Of like, I'm actually back on the trail.
She's so close, you can feel it.
Watch this smile. Looks at the bite. Right.
Talk.
There.
She's in a holding cell at our camp.
Where is that?
Head that way till you hit the railroad track. That'll lead you to a resort.
It's like, had this exchange happened earlier, if she killed someone in cold blood earlier, there'd be a very different reaction. It's like she's becoming more and more like Joel at this point, more and more capable, and more cold about the violence, where she could just execute it and move on and not think twice about it.
I think at this point she's completely disassociated from the Ellie
Like
we've ever known.
Staring him in the eye as he's dying. And just a hint that the injury's getting worse and worse.
But again, she's not going to stop.
She can't. Not yet.
Extra resort. Tall round building.
Remember this. Yeah, so the idea, right? She gets hit right at her injury. I like how badass this scene is. And the desperation.
Ugh.
Remember the thumb to the eye. This is Matthew Mercer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What I like about this sequence too is like you can look at everything that Ellie does is so ugly and so brutal and so unnecessary, but had she not come after Abby, who knows if these people would have ever been free, who knows if this uprising would have ever happened, right? So again, there's these butterfly wings happening because of all of the choices she's made, that none of them are just black and white. You've got this constant gray you have to reconcile with.
Oh, they're staring at her like she's some kind of wild animal. Again, like there's this whole crazy thing going on here of like slaves and slavers, and Ellie cares none of that. It's just she's so single-minded about Abby, and pretty soon, she, like in gameplay, she's gonna just start repeating Abby, Abby.
I wonder how much of Ellie is hoping to die in that fight. But I love how surprising the speed is, right? It's like you keep moving towards this idea of this fight, and the whole way you're like, Ellie, you're too fucked up, don't do this, don't face Abby, we know what she's like, and now you come to this absolutely wrecked, frail.
I also love, it's pretty much wordless, and you could tell so much with the performance what's going on in their heads, and you could see Ellie's confusion and anger and sadness for what she's witnessing.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like finally the prize is right there, and now it just doesn't feel as satisfying.
I always read that like there are boats this way moment is like, if I'm nice to her, if I'm just like treat her like not my enemy, then maybe like this will all go by quietly.
To me, this is a really nice mirror beat of Joel with Ellie, Joel carrying Ellie, right? And so you have that invocation, and Ellie just has to watch it, has to watch this embodiment of somebody who represents every good part of Joel.
It makes me so sad. This scene. It's just because Ellie doesn't know what to do with all of that anger and that hurt from losing Joel. And now this is the moment.
Yeah, because at this point, that's all Ellie has left. It's just this fucked up quest. Yeah, imagine having that image stuck in your head and not knowing how to get rid of it.
Yeah. And killing somebody else is not going to do it, but
You have to get to that point. You have to realize it yourself.
This was we actually had a really fun day.
Yeah.
As hard as this scene was, and it's so funny doing this with one of your best friends, of just like fighting each other, pulling her hair, being like, get out of here, let's fight, kick me.
No. I'm not gonna fight you.
I think that threat is fake, right? It's, I don't think.
Yes. I don't think.
She's bluffing.
I absolutely think she's bluffing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, but I agree, but what would have happened if Abby was like,
No.
no. Like, I feel like she still would have pushed that. I would think she would have pushed that knife in.
This is great that there's all these different interpretations.
That's
'cause
so
I
cool.
I don't think she would. There were all these other versions of how Ellie lost her fingers. Do you remember, Hallie? Of like, there used to be when someone was waiting for her at the farm and then tortured her in retribution for what happened in Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was like the parent or somebody
Yeah.
of somebody who died, of like an NPC essentially, who came, and so you're seeing that cyclical nature of violence of like, you killed my person, you killed my person, you killed my person. So somebody you didn't even realize you'd really killed tracks Ellie down.
I love how you pin her with your knee.
Yeah. So originally the conception was that Abby dies here, and it would have been such a different game, I think, if if right now there was just a body underwater and Ellie was having this moment. Yeah, you didn't know that?
I did not know Abby died here originally.
Well, yeah, originally, like, I think both Yara and Lev died, and this was just Abby by herself when you meet up with her. And then Ellie kills Abby.
Rough.
Yeah.
I think leaving Ellie with 3% of the humanity that she got from who she was, that good kid, that scrappy kid that Joel helped shape. I think if she killed Abby, you would never see that kid again. And this gives a hope that she's still in there a little bit and could be maybe revived in the same way that Abby was revived in the right circumstance.
I agree.
Seeing the reactions, there's people that wanting to know, what was it exactly that made Ellie stop? Is it Lev? Is it this memory of Joel? Is it everything she's experienced? Is it just like Abby's state, that it's not this person that defeated her in the theater? And to me, it's all those things. The way our brains work is so messy, and that's the story was always meant to be very messy in that way, that there aren't these clear-cut answers.
To me, that moment is 2 more seconds, this girl is dead. So I already know what this feels like. I can see what I'm going to feel like 5 seconds from now.
Yes.
And it's no different.
Yes.
So why?